The following lesson on resumes and cover letters will be focusing on cover letters. What should be included in your cover letter? Your cover letter should explain why you are sending in the resume. Do not send a resume without a cover letter. You shouldn't make the reader guess what you're asking for. Be very specific. If you want a summer internship opportunity or a permanent position, this is where you would put that information. Also, if you're applying for a job with a large company and there is a job position number, you should put that number in the cover letter as well. Tell specifically how you learned about the position or the organization. Was it a flyer posted at your department? Did you find it on a website? Or does a family friend work at the organization and suggested that you apply? It is appropriate to mention the name of someone who suggested that you write. In the cover letter, it's your job to convince the reader to look at your resume in full. The cover letter is going to be seen first. Therefore, it must be very well written and targeted to that employer. Call attention to elements of your background, education, leadership, experience, anything that you feel is relevant to the position in which you're seeking. Your cover letter best reflects your attitude and personality, your motivation, and your communication skills. In your cover letter, you should provide or refer to any information specifically requested in a job advertisement that may not have been able to be covered in your resume, such as availability of the time in which you can start working, or a reference to an attached writing example. Indicate what you will do to follow up. Many times, HR managers get so overwhelmed with the job postings in which they are in charge of. In your cover letter, it's best to let this manager know that you will be contacting him or her. In the letter, many times applicants will say, "I look forward to hearing from you." However, if you have further contact information, such as the phone number of the employer, it's best that you take the initiative to follow up and call them. In your letter, you can write, "I will contact you in the next 2 weeks to see if you require any additional information regarding my qualifications." This too shows that you have the incentive and the initiative to put more work and effort into securing an interview. Let's talk about setting up the page. Left and right page margins should be 1 to 1.5 inches. You do want your letter to be visually appealing, just like your resume, because if it looks like a mess, most likely it won't be read. You can, of course, change and adjust the margins to balance how your document will look on the page. Just like with your resume, you should use a font style that's simple, clear, and common, such as Times New Roman. Font size should be 10 to 12 points, generally or appropriate. 12 points is best. Serif or sans serif. Sans means without serif, and those are the fonts that have the little lines at the end of the letters. It's just based off of how well that font is going to be able to be read. You definitely want to stay away from any font such as script. That would be more of a cursive writing. They're pretty, but it can be very overwhelming when you're reading a whole page. Tips for writing your cover letter. Don't be overly formal. This is where you get to have your personality shine a lot more than you can in your resume. Don't repeat your resume, but you do want to give a teaser. So refer to your resume when you can, but don't copy and paste resume sentences into your cover letter. Your cover letter allows you to cover other information for the job that you weren't able to cover in the resume. This is a great place too to mention any honors and awards that can reflect your character, but may not be related to the job posting itself. When you are writing your cover letters and your resumes, research the company and know their information. Many times when I applied for a job, I would contact the company or business to find out who the HR manager was in charge of that job posting. And that way I could put his or her name in my cover letter. Make sure too that when you call, you gain the correct spelling of the name of the individual. Many times too, you can find this on the business or company's website. Your cover letter should be 1 page in length only. It should be more than half a page. So you have 1/2 to a full page cover letter in order to write. You can find examples of cover letters by simply using Google Image. This concludes our lesson on cover letters.